Hello everybody and welcome back to Today in the NBA. Today we are going to be looking at my big board for this upcoming 2023 draft. It is only the lottery, however. The first player on my big board is Victor Wembanyama out of France. Now, this is no surprise. Everyone knows that he's going to be going first, just the size, the skill. He's an amazing prospect, 7'5". Rudy Gobert potential on the defensive end, Kevin Durant potential on the offensive end. Not a surprise. With the second player on my big board, I have Scoot Henderson, 6'2", 6'3" point guard out of G League Ignite. He played very well this year. Probably could have done with a bit of structure to the team, which is not something the G League Ignite is known for. Now, the big draws with Scoot are his passing and his athleticism. He's an incredible athlete, can jump out the gym and uses it very well in the court. As a passer, he's great in the open court, great in the half court, great in transition, runs a pick and roll well, but the big problem with him is his three-point shooting. Struggled from behind the line and couldn't really punish opposing players for going underneath screens, but his mid-range game looks very good. He's a good free throw shooter, so a three-point shot is something that I think he could develop very well. That is why I have him second. Third player on my big board is Brandon Miller, 6'9" wing out of Alabama. Good size, probably needs to bulk out a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. He's got the frame for it. Long arms, good defender, surprisingly good shot blocker, great shooter, great shooter, one of the best in the class. Had a little bit of issues off the court, but I don't see that being a problem in the future. He's got high upside and he's also got a pretty high floor, which is why I have him going third on my big board. With the fourth player on my big board, we have Amen Thompson, 6'7" point guard out of the Overtime Elite League. He struggled a bit with his three-point shooting, not being a great three-point shooter, but that was the only real hole in his game. Good size as a point guard, good passer, can run the pick and roll, terrifying in the open court, and the athleticism is the main draw. He is probably the most athletic player in the class, along with his twin brother Ausar Thompson, and he doesn't just use that athleticism in the combine. He uses it on the court. His game, his finishing, his fast twitch style of play, all sort of runs through his athleticism. Great finisher, can take bumps and finish through contact, can get around bigger players, finish over bigger players, bully his way to the rim, good handle, electrifying player, just needs to work on that jump shot, and that's why he's fourth. The fifth player on my big board is Cam Whitmore, 6'5", 6'6", sort of, small forward out of Villanova. Played pretty solid this year, did struggle a bit. When you're evaluating him, you sort of have to look at his later high school film, and especially his film in the EYBL circuit, where he was outstanding. He's a bit small, height-wise, for a small forward, but he's built, he's very strong, he can jump out the gym, bullies his way to the rim, great fast twitch athlete, explosive. He has a good handle, but something that he does struggle with is his shooting. He could definitely develop it though. It's not like he's a bad shooter or anything. He's just not where you want him to be for a small forward in the NBA. And that is why I have him going fifth on my big board. Sixth player on my big board is Jarace Walker. Now, Jarace Walker, power forward out of Houston, he was a loser from the combine. He measured in at 6'6" for a power forward. That is not great. With shoes, he could probably get to 6'7.5", which is like Jeremy Grant level size. Not small, but also not great. Jarace Walker, he was a solid shooter, I think shooting 35.5% from three. Could create off the dribble. Good defender, strong, built. Jarace is a good defender, can defend out on the perimeter, can defend in space, can cover pick and roll when he's defending either the roll man or the ball handler. Only thing he's going to need to worry about is sort of defending under the post or in post-up situations. He's a little bit small as to where bigger players are just going to be able to shoot over, and that is why I have Jarace Walker going 6th on my big board. Seventh player on my big board is the twin brother of Amin Thompson, Asar Thompson. Asar is a 6'7" wing out of the Overtime Elite League. Like Amin, he is a great athlete, great finisher, finish through contact, all that. Differences between the two are the passing. Amin is a much better passer, while Asar is only really good in the open court. Asar played much more off the ball this year, as Amin had the ball in his hands most of the time. He did play very well in that role though, shooting I think 36% from 3, which is much better than his brother. The other big draw with Asar is his defensive potential. 6'7", good wingspan, strong, big, quick, lockdown defender level potential. He's just going to need to work on his instincts, defending the pick and roll, and it might take a little bit for him to develop. And that is why I have Asar Thompson 7th on my big board. The 8th player on my big board is Taylor Hendricks, power forward out of UCF. Taylor Hendricks, big 6'9" body, measured well at the combine. Athletic, great shot blocker, can defend on the perimeter, good 3-point shooter, 38% from 3 in the college season. If he can translate that and his defense to the NBA, he is going to be a very good top level role player, potentially even an all-star. Taylor Hendricks can also attack off the catch, but he does struggle to create his own shot. He can do it a little bit in the post, but it's not something that would be a good yield on points per possession. And that is why I have Taylor Hendricks 8th on my big board. With the 9th player on my big board, I have Anthony Black, a 6'7" point guard out of Arkansas. Good defender, good passer, can run the pick and roll well too. The big problem with Anthony Black is his jump shot. It's a pretty looking jump shot, but it doesn't go in, shooting 30% from 3, and did not shoot very well from the line either, so that is going to be something that he has to work on. And that is why I have Anthony Black at 9 on my big board. With the 10th player on my big board, I have Cason Wallace, a 6'2", 6'3" point guard out of Kentucky. Solid shooter, solid passer, can run the pick and roll. He's above average playmaker, but he's not elite. The real draw with Cason Wallace is his perimeter defense. Incredible instincts, provides help defense as a guard, which is not something you see very often. I can see Cason Wallace as being the best perimeter defender in this class by a pretty substantial margin, and that is why teams draft him and why I have him at 10 on my big board. The 11th player on my big board is Grady Dick out of Kansas. 6'7" wing, incredible 3-point shooter. Could pump fake, get his defenders in the air, drive inside, hit a mid-range, or drive inside, get a layup. He was alright with the ball in his hands, but nothing special. The big reason you pick him is for his shooting. Probably the best catch and shoot player in this class, and that is a skill that will develop very well into the NBA level. The big problem with him is his defense. Pretty solid team defender, but did get lost on the ball sometimes. That is why I have Grady Dick at 11 on my big board. With the 12th player on my big board, I have Kobe Buffkin, a 6'4" point guard out of Michigan. He was a bit of a late draft riser. Good passer, solid athlete, good wingspan, is built, runs the pick and roll well, good mid-range shooter, but he does struggle a little bit from behind the 3-point line. However, I think he can work on his jump shot. This is why I have him at 12th on my big board. At 13, I have a bit of a controversial player, Nick Smith Jr., another 6'5" point guard out of Arkansas. Nick Smith did play the shooting guard role when he was on the court. He suffered from injuries big time. He didn't play many games. I think it was 2 different injuries that kept him back, and when he played, he didn't look amazing. He's a good 3-point shooter. It was 36% on the season, but does struggle with his efficiency from inside the arc. Is pretty skinny, so he struggles to finish around the rim, so he does rely a lot on his mid-range game and his float game. Now, his floaters are very, very good and very effective. The mid-range shooting was good too, same as the 3-point shooting, though could do with a little bit of work. I think he was held back by the injuries throughout the season. So in the NBA, if he has a full off-season to get healthy, I can see him being better than a lot of the people that are mocked before him. Coming into the year, he was a pretty consensus top 5 player, so if a team manages to pick him up here at 13 or even later, I think it could be good. If Nick Smith can manage to stay healthy at the next level, I think he's going to be a very good player and well worth the risk. This is why I have him 13th on my big board. Now the 14th pick on my big board is Keontae George, 6'4" shooting guard out of Baylor. Keontae George struggled with his efficiency this year. Pretty poor shot selection, but I can see him being a microwave shooter off the bench, sort of like a Jordan Clarkson mold. When he was cold, he was cold. Nothing would go for him. But when he was hot, he was pretty much unguardable. Everything would go. He's built, he's strong, he can finish through contact very, very well. And a good athlete. He's a high upside pick, but also a high risk pick. This is why I am 14. Now, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.